Right, so everybody, we're joined today with Steven Beck from Tempered. And the reason why that's so funny is because we just got the first 5 minutes of the episode and I realised that wasn't recording the video. But we weren't actually talking about that much of an exciting topic. We were talking about the fact that none of us had really played guitar while in lockdown, which is probably not you. But nonetheless, today we are joined with Steven Beck of Tempered, Glasgow Thrashers Tempered. Beck, say hello again. I know you've already done it, but I fucked up. I need you to say hello.
Aye, it's good to be here, man. I'm a big fan. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, man. You're welcome. It's nice to have you on after all this time. One of the actual fans of the original series of the podcast.
Yeah, man.
An impromptu break of 2 years.
I enjoyed listening to it, man, in the early mornings.
Are you snacking today? Because we can.
I was planning on snacking because I knew you'd pull out your nuts and shit, and I was making my dinner.
I don't pull my nuts out on camera anymore.
You're acting nuts. They're listening right now. I had my dinner there, man. I made what would I have? Like spicy chicken strips or some shit, and I was going to have them there, but Jack took so long to come on the call that I fucking just ate.
That's pretty standard procedure, to be honest.
Yeah.
I am drinking though. I've got this lovely Bars Red Cola.
Bars Red Cola.
Nice.
Ice cold at the fridge, man.
Oh, yes, man. 2 litres for £1 as well.
Oh, can't beat it, man.
You can't beat that.
I can't drink Red Cola anymore, man. You ever get it when it... Because when we were younger, you used to always... It's £1 for 2 litres, eh? So use that for a mixer with, vodka or whatever.
And
now, it's been 10 years or something, eh? But now, whenever I drink Red Cola, it just tastes like vodka. Rancid fucking Glenn's vodka. Yeah. It's tainted.
Red Cola is pretty good, though. I must say.
What's it actually made of? It's quite fruity, isn't it?
I've always just referred to it as red flavoured.
Just say it's fruit flavour.
Fruit flavour. But it tastes fruity, but you can't really pick out an individual fruit.
Well, the first ingredient is black carrot. I didn't even know you could get black carrots.
I think that's a vegetable as well.
Well, maybe a black carrot's a fruit. Who knows?
I have no idea. It's something that the viewers are going to be chomping at the bit to Google. They'll be opening up tabs left, right, and
center.
What?
I can totally Google it now, man, because I've got my fucking dual screen on the go here. So
you absolutely may as well.
It is a black carrot.
I hope this comes up with something really dodgy.
Unlike normal carrots, which owe their colour to their carotene content, black carrots contain anthocyanin compounds, which after extraction exhibit desirable red shades, similar to FD&C Red 40. Right,
Google that as well and see what that means.
I'll fuck that.
So it's just a carrot before it's your traditional supermarket kind of carrot, I guess.
Who's fucking... on you go, sorry.
No, I was just going to talk shit about carrots. What were you going to say?
I was trying to get away from carrots there because it's a bit of a boring subject, isn't it? I was just going to say, man, so how's lockdown been treating you?
Our lockdown, mine's just been all right. I've just been working as normal. So I've been working full time and then kind of just coming home and going to bed. So all the boring bits of my life have maintained a steady routine. But I think it's shite for everyone, but we'll see. Missing just being in the practice room, to be honest.
Definitely. Missing it's big time, man.
I think just I'm not a massive social kind of person in general. I'm not one of these people that lockdowns had this mad effect on me because I'm not getting to see loads of people and socialise all the time. But even for me now, it's kind of the lack of gigs, seeing folk, and just that kind of thing it's a bit shite for me now. It did take a while for me to get there because it's kind of it was almost a dream come true for me, the idea that I just didn't have to go out and I could just, you know what I mean? I'm kind of a homebird in that kind of sense.
Aye.
Even now, it's kind of like, oh, this is fucking shit now. Just want some live music blasted into my ears really fucking loud.
That's it, man. I just missed that whole fucking loud fucking shit in my ears, man. It's exactly what you said, but that's what I miss, man. It's like the sheer volume and the power, man. It's like just missing it, man.
So, in your opinion, when do you reckon we'll see live music again, like underground live music? Because the way I think of it is like theatre can trickle back. You know, these seated kind of events can trickle back.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a little gap between the seats. Underground metal, where it's like tiny venue with sweaty people jumping on top of each other. It's almost like that's got to be one of the last things that is going to come back.
Aye, well, it's definitely not going to be as it was straight away. I think there will be a few gigs towards the end of the year, but obviously there's not going to be a lot of people there, and we're just going to see if we're going to have to see if it works out or not, because you know it might not. I mean, 2 weeks later, everybody might have fucking COVID-19, and then they're like, right, fuck that.
Aye, lock back down.
Aye, but there's I think I read about, is there not like one of those like outdoor venues getting set up somewhere, like around Glasgow or Edinburgh? I've seen it briefly. I didn't really read it.
Well, I've read bits and bobs about stuff like that happening, but I'm going, are the underground metal bands in Scotland gonna get gigs in these kind of?
Oh no, it's going to be like fucking Charlene Spiteri and all that shit, man.
So the idea, like I understand, like the idea of a pop-up venue outside is good and will benefit people, but there's nothing about reading something about that makes me go, oh, maybe us and the boys can get on. You know what I mean? Like it's just,
it's not going to happen.
I feel like there's just no way that there's going to be a pop-up venue somewhere down the fucking gas market in Edinburgh, and a bunch of CST bands are going to go mental on it. It just doesn't. I just don't think that's going to happen.
I think
that's the thing as well. Where like,
on you go.
That's the thing with you, like, with you saying, you know, like, oh, it's probably not going to be the same for a while. I was chatting to Laurie the other day, and he was talking about like pits and that. And I guess it depends, because some people just don't seem that fussed about the whole COVID thing, and then some people are maybe in vulnerable groups or whatever, and they're a lot more worried about it. But I think even once we get back to normal, in a gig, an underground gig sort of setting, I think there's still going to be lots of people that are going to be mad cautious, you know, like maybe staying away from the stage, staying away from other people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. Like, I reckon for a while, if you're comfortable to even go to a gig, you're probably going to be comfortable to jump around at that gig. You know, I think initially when live music comes back, if you're still cautious about the whole thing or in a vulnerable category, you'll probably just go, I'm not going. You know, like, I don't think I would want to go to a gig. I don't know. Like, I feel like the moment live music comes back, like underground metal music comes back, I will probably go. And if I had to just stand there, I would just stand there.
Aye.
But I feel like a lot of people would, if they still felt cautious about doing that, they just wouldn't go. I don't know. It's weird.
I mean, I don't know. They're not going to allow shit like that though at first, man. Like, it is going to have to be like 2 meters away and fucking face masks on, and even the bands are going to have to, like, you know, like use their own like microphones and shit, and it's going to be a big thing, man. It's going to take a lot of effort just to put on like a small gig. They're going to get loads of staff as well. I think there'll be more security like throughout the venue, making sure that everybody's like abiding by the rules and stuff.
Aye.
And do you reckon if, for example, a gig happened and like everyone's kind of itching to start a pit, and somebody starts, you know, is that going to, you know, it's weird. It's almost not worth having an underground metal show until that's allowed.
If anybody tries it, man, they'll probably get put out straight away.
They will know how all those sort of hardcore dancers in Opium feel when they get
they'll have like
their gig shut down.
Face masks on and have like straws and shit under their masks, like drinking. Some will have too many and try and start a pit, and the fucking guy will grab them and fuck them out, man.
If you were offered a gig that was going to go ahead, and you knew that everyone who was there in the audience were going to have to be a meter apart at all times, is that something that would appeal to you?
Well, I mean, I'm 35. I fucking don't jump in mosh pits and that now anyway. But as long as I can stand and watch a band and, you know, have a drink, then that's cool. I'm not bothered about people being around me. In fact, I'm actually glad that people are further away from me.
Arguably better for your demographic.
Aye.
Your personal space is now lawfully protected.
So you seen these like places in Europe and that where they've got like club nights, and yeah, people are like on seats and like a certain amount of distance apart, and you know, like dancing on their seats and that. They kind of get up and watching stuff like that, and it's like, why would you even bother to go out? Even looking at like the guidelines for pubs and that, because obviously I work in a wee bar, and like I don't understand why people would want to go out if there's like screens and you can't sit next to people. You're having to sit facing away from people. You've got a certain slot of time that you've got to be in and out within. It just sounds like I'd rather just stay home and wait until it gets better.
Definitely.
You say that, but at the same time, I just feel like if a gig was going ahead and a band that I liked was playing,
like gigs are different to like clubbing and shit, man. Like fuck clubbing and all that. You know? I don't really care about going to pubs and stuff, but I'd like to at least try and get a gig or two before the end of the year, because that's what I like, and I'm seriously missing it.
Aye,
for sure, man. I mean, I reckon I feel vaguely confident that there'll be a gig of some kind that, you know, for the likes of our bands, you know, that can be done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just don't think that the venues can last the rest of the year without opening in some way. You know, like none of these venues are making a fortune by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, I read a thing yesterday that the Scottish government has been given like £10 million to help the venues in Scotland.
Yeah, so, I think that's true.
Aye. I mean, God knows how much like the bigger venues are getting out of that, but I'm sure the smaller venues are 10 million divided. But I mean, how many small venues are there in Scotland? I mean, there's a few, but there can't really be hundreds. £10 million, if they get at least like 10 grand each or something, that should keep them their rent paid for like until halfway through next year or some shit. Maybe no 10 grand. I think.
I don't know, $1 million's quite a lot. You know, as you say, it depends what the cut goes to, you know, the big established venues. But you've got to think they're the ones that are, I don't know, I don't really understand how all the economics of it work, but to me, I just presume that the bigger venues have more money, but then I guess they're more money to run, so it probably works out.
They probably bring in more money as well, so more likely to put the funding towards them.
Have you heard anything about work, Jack?
No, nothing.
Opium closed for the foreseeable at this point.
I think so, yeah. But I mean, obviously it's like hard to tell because you're getting announcements for down south and that. It's like 15th, 16th July talking about opening pubs and that. I think what pubs and stuff down south opened today, maybe.
They opened 6 in the morning.
Like 6 in the morning, which sounds obscure because obviously like our drinking laws are so different. But I guess But now we've had we got like
sorry.
Oh, sorry, man. We get like the wee flow online training shite. So we've been told to do like the online modules, and we can't work until we're like done the COVID safety stuff. But I don't know. I mean, even if they do open back up, like my advice, being in a shielding household, is not to go back till after the end of July. So they can open back up, but I'm going to have to be like, well, I can't come back, you know.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense, like going to.
I expect that they'll be able to continue furlough for workers in that scenario.
I think so, yeah. Maybe
unless
like
they're really brutal,
reduced amount or something.
Yeah.
But furlough should be going up till October or something, I think they've got the funding for.
I think so. So hopefully, hopefully the whole environment can survive. I mean, I reckon it's going to need a big boost, you know, next year if gigs are kind of relatively back to normal, say like spring, summertime next year. They're going to need a big boost, but then you've got to think that they're going to get a big boost because everyone's going to be so gig sick, you know. Like one of the silver linings in my head is that when gigs come back, you know, hopefully people are really chomping at the bit to go to them. You know, I'm anticipating some gnarly shows like next summer and stuff.
I think it will be like that for a wee while, and then once things are back to normal, like people will kind of like stop going as much.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like I think a lot of people are going to turn out to gigs when they come back at first, because like it's that kind of thing where you don't know what you've got till it's gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be missing it, and they'll get a few gigs in, and then they'll be like, oh well, I've been to a couple of gigs. That's me.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a it's the bigger question, obviously. Like, is the world going to change? Is everyone going to learn from this and stuff like that? But I think when you're right, when you choke it down to, like, for example, the underground metal scene in Scotland, it will have its little boom, and then it'll probably just merge back into something similar as to what it was before.
I think so.
But we'll see. So let's talk about Steven Beck and Tempered. We're here to talk about you and your band, I guess.
Aye.
So that's why you're here, believe it or not. That's why we plucked you out of our big long list of famous people in Scotland and thought we'll get back on. So as you can see, me and Jack representing our Tempered t-shirts today. Two big fans in the house.
Thanks for doing that. It's not a redneck at all.
It's all right. I was honestly wearing this already today, and you'll know that we didn't know we were doing this tonight until just a short while ago.
Aye.
So Jack, I will say, changed.
Aye.
And it's up to you whether that's bad or not. I think it's cute or not.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about the grassroots of Tempered. How did the band begin?
How did it begin? Well, I used to play in Kingpin, another Glasgow thrash metal crossover band. I'm sure everybody listening to this knows it anyway.
You would hope so.
Aye, I kind of had a break for it for a while, about a year and a half or something, then started playing again. And I was writing like a couple of sort of thrashy numbers, and I thought, I'll work on this and I'll see if I can get a band together. And still had a few things left over that I didn't use for Kingpin. And I just brought it all together and asked Dave if he wanted to get in the studio, and we practiced for a few months. He hadn't played in 3 years because he had his kids and stuff. He left his last band to have kids and that. So we were just basically shaking the rust off for a few months. And then we got Chris in, and then we got Andy in, and then we got Aaron in first, and then we got Chris in, then we got Andy. It all came together, man. It was good. That's it, really. That's the end of the story.
Thanks for telling the story. It was really nice. So how did you meet Aaron then? Because obviously Aaron, a New Zealander.
I hadn't caught up with Dan in a while, man. I think he was having a hard time at the time. And I was like, well, I'll come out and meet you, man. We'll go and have a game of pool or something. And I went and met him, and he was hanging about with a few folk, and Aaron was there and was introduced to him and stuff. So Aaron's just moved here. He's like into hardcore and metal and stuff, and so cool. So we kind of hung about, went to like Super Barrio and played some games and stuff. I got home, and the minute I got home, I had a friend request for Aaron, and I was like, "Oh fuck,
clingy bastard!"
I know. And I accepted his ad. Didn't think anything of it. And then the next day, I got a message from him like, "Hey, do you want to hang out and stuff?" I'm like, "Oh fucking hell, man! I hate this. What have I got myself in for here?"
It's definitely one of them.
I think I said to him, I will go to a gig or something. I think we went to see Windhand in Audio. We went to see Windhand, and I think he came to a few. I was working in Ivory Blacks at the time. I think he came to a few gigs there as well, and we get talking. And I was telling him that I was looking for a singer, and I let him hear the stuff, and he really liked it, and got him in the studio, and I was really impressed, man. He showed me like lyrics and stuff that he had written, and it's absolutely amazing at lyrics. I've never met anybody that can write that kind of stuff.
His lyrics are very, very good. A important part of the Greenwashed EP, I think, is the lyrics for sure.
Aye, I think it's a very important part of the band overall, which is why him leaving has kind of left us in a difficult situation, because we don't know how the next thing's going to turn out. But Aaron's actually going to be recording on the next one, so it's all good. But then after we do that, it's like, right, where do we go for there? So we'll cross that bridge. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
I like that, he's he kind of left, but he kind of didn't. He didn't leave. He lives on in the hearts of many, but he's also going to be recording vocals from the other side of the world, which I think is quite cool.
It's brilliant, man. I mean, lots of people do it. It's like the day and age that we live in, the internet and shit. I mean, I basically, the other day, recorded a demo for one of our new tunes, and I sent him the tune. It took like 2 minutes or something, and then like half an hour later, he sent me the vocal back, and sounds great. And it's like, fucking hell, he's like literally the furthest point away in the world that you can be, and we're just like sending shit back and forth, like
it's that simple. Aye. So, do you know of Aaron's like any previous stuff that he was doing? Was he a vocalist? Did he come to you saying, "I'm a vocalist"?
No, he hadn't done vocals before. Well, he did kinda. He was the drummer when he stayed in Germany before he moved to Scotland. He was a drummer in Todesnot, and he done some vocals and he played drums. But like, I think he wanted to continue playing drums, but like all the drum stuff that he had got was in Germany, and there was no way I'm getting it over. So I was just like, fucking have a bash at vocals, man. And when he showed me the lyrics first, and I was like, fuck, you really need to, I hope this guy's good, man. You need to do I hope you sound good and you're not just a really nice poet or whatever. It really came together, man. I was so chuffed with
it. The thing about Aaron's vocals to me is that like he doesn't scream to me as someone. Why? The reason I asked the question was because it doesn't jump out to me as someone that sounds like a really accomplished vocalist.
Yeah,
like he's got that really rabid, kind of chaotic sort of just going for it kind of vibe to his vocals, which I think really works with your music.
Aye.
But it definitely doesn't sound like someone that's kind of developed a technique over X amount of years.
Yeah.
It's nice to know that he was kind of just, that's his vocal debut, I presume, Greenwashed.
Well, no, as I said, he was in that other band, Todesnot. I can't remember if he was the main vocalist or not, but like he had recorded vocals on that.
Okay.
But I mean, I think he could do anything vocal wise if he wanted to.
Yeah.
Like when he joined the band, I said to him, like the idea for vocals that I had was something between grindcore and black metal, and he pretty much delivered on that, man. It's like
it's that crusty kind of
it's just
high screams.
Aye, totally, man. I love him, man. He's fucking brilliant.
But he's got some good logos.
Guy.
He's quite, for someone that obviously isn't a massively experienced vocalist. He's got some good chops on him for sure.
He knows his stuff, man. He really does. He's very, very talented. I don't think he knows how talented he actually is. But I mean, have you heard his new band that he's playing drums in? The first single the other day, man. It's fucking brilliant.
It's great. He's a great drummer. It's weird to me because obviously we never knew that he was a drummer, really. He was always like, he just appeared in Scotland, he was a tempered vocalist.
Aye.
So for him to then tell me like, I'm actually really a drummer, it's kind of like, fuck off. It's like if you were to tell me you were a drummer, I'd be like, fuck off. It's not my place to know your history, but it's weird that he was, because when he was telling me about his new band, I just presumed he was a vocalist.
When I think when I actually first said to him about the band that I had on the go, he was saying that he wanted to play bass, and I don't think he had a bass. I think he only had a guitar. Right. So like he can do a bit of everything, man. As I said, he's really talented.
Aye, and obviously you've had before we go into the bass player thing, we'll talk a little bit about Chris, shall we? Chris, to get out of the way, it's an intimidating subject. He's a big burly geezer. A big gentle giant. But obviously Chris is quite a young chap.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so what playground did you pluck him from?
Thanks for putting it like that, Dick. I would. Chris was actually the first person that applied to. Like, Dave was putting like ads on Gumtree and stuff. And Chris was the first person that replied, and we were like, "Why not? Let's get him in." And he came in, and he was 19. We were like 32 or 33 or some shit. I'm just like, we're a wee bit intimidated, this wee guy, because of the sheer size of him. He came in and he had like this like shitty Boss fucking multi effects, and it was weird, man. It was like he learned this. He learned some of the stuff, and like I could hear that he could play it and that, but I was just like, I don't know, man. Like he's a lot younger than us. He's not really got any like band experience. He's not got any like amp heads or anything, any gear. But we gave him a shot. I mean, everybody else was up for giving him a shot. I was the one that was like, I don't know.
Notoriously a bit of the old perfectionist, I believe. You know.
Aye. Well, so they say. Aye. But I'm glad we stuck with him, man, because he's like the most talented person in the band. He's an insane guitarist, man.
He really is.
He hasn't been playing during lockdown, but for some fucking reason, he's got better. He just picked the guitar up again to go to the studio, and he's better. What's that about?
That's the youth. That's his youth shining through. I mean, when you see Chris play live, it's like everything's just butter to him, just butter to his fingers.
Aye.
Playing some pretty complex shit. And he's obviously the lead guitar player. So he's...
You'd fucking hear some of the solos that he's been recording for this new shit, man. It's just... I can't even comprehend it.
I always presumed that he was older than he was because he was so good at guitar.
He's probably the most adult out of everyone in the band, even though he's the youngest. He's really got his head screwed on, man.
Yeah, he is. He's a good lad. I would never say anything to the contrary because he would...
I look up to him.
But, aye. Yeah, he's a great guy. So that's kind of the lineup. Obviously, you then lost a man, and
Andy.
Aye. So
Andy, he was again like I think he was the first person that came forward, and we brought him in, and he had learnt it all. In fact, he had sent us videos. I think he had like messages, and we gave him the stuff to learn, and he messaged back like 3 days later with like a video of him playing like every single song perfectly and his own bits and stuff. It's just like I can't believe this is happening. What the fuck? It never goes as smooth as this.
Who are these people that just come along and are perfect for them? I think I vaguely remember asking you if I could join, and you're like, no. You're already in a band, and you're from Edinburgh.
That's it. I didn't want anybody that was already in a band because, you know, it conflicts at times. Like,
I mean, I think I just heard the demo and I was like, well, fucking yes, please. But when in reality, if you'd said yes, I probably would have then had to follow up with, in fact, nah, I can't. At the same time, I still took it upon myself to be a bit offended.
Andy's really talented as well. He's a brilliant guitarist as well. I don't think this is actually his first instrument. I think guitar's his first instrument. But he really takes to bass like a proper bass player, man. He's got the mind of a bass player.
Yeah.
For sure.
There's some really sick wee bass parts on Greenwashed as well, like some of the wee runs and stuff that he does. I mean, the first couple of times seeing you guys live and like hadn't heard any of the stuff outside of the live setting, just afterwards bailing up to him like, bro, what that? Because he's quite shy as well, eh? And I mind feeling like he was quite like taken aback because I'm like, bro, and he's like, what the fuck, man?
Well, he left the band, man. I don't think his heart was really in it anymore. I think he'd got everything out of it that he wanted to get out of it. And the novelty had kind of worn off or something. I know he's got a lot of like problems in his life and that. I know he's got some stuff to deal with, but you know, I wish he could have stayed, but it's down to him really. I'm not going to hold him.
Well, I mean, it's always going to hurt when you lose a talent like that.
Aye.
It's not often that you hear bass, you know, kind of in thrash, kind of done the way that he was doing it. You know, because there's a speaking as a bass player who really tries to cut as many fucking corners as I possibly can to give myself the easiest job. You know, like he's not only like the way I see it is like if I'm wanting to be good, I'll follow the guitars exactly. If I'm wanting just to do my thing, I'll just kind of pedal some notes that work. Whereas he's kind of shifted entirely across to the right. So if he wants to just get by, he'll follow the guitar riff exactly. But then if he's wanting to be good, he's going to add all his own twiddles on top of that as well.
Aye. He'll find like every single gap in between riffs where it's just like open E's, and then every single open E he'll have like a fiddly bass bit. It's like, it's crazy.
Aye.
I've not got the mind for that, man. Like, I used to play bass first, but it was basic as fuck. I could play really fast and stuff. I was in a thrash band, so thought I was good at that, but actually coming up with proper bass parts was just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, his bass parts are really, really good, and they stand out really well. Like the mix is quite bass friendly, so it's not like he doesn't kind of lose. He's not working really hard for a little reward. You know, you can hear the bass pretty darn clear in the mix.
He made sure that he got the bass sound that he wanted when we were recording. He spent a bit of time with George when he was recording that, and just tweaking tiniest wee bit here, tiniest wee bit there, and he got the sound that he was happy with. So
yeah,
and we were all happy with it. It sounds great.
So so how did Greenwashed the EP come about? Was that did you just start saying, right, we're working towards an EP, or is it just an accumulation of the songs that you'd written at the time, or?
We weren't really thinking that far ahead. I think we realised at one point that we had enough songs for an EP, and then I think, what was the last song we wrote? I think I just hit it with Strive one day, and I was like, right, there you go, that'll fill like 20 minutes. 20 minutes is like one side of an album or whatever, so that should do for an EP.
Yeah.
And that was it. We just went in and recorded it.
What's the first Tempered song that ever existed? What's the first full band jam of a finished song?
Well, as I said, like a couple of the bits was old stuff that I had from Kingpin. We jammed in Kingpin the song Greenwashed. Basically, the first half of that up until it starts going all like chordy and stuff at the end. I had that there, and obviously it was like tuned down and it was a bit slower, and we all weren't really sure about it. And looking back, it probably doesn't really fit in with the Kingpin thing.
Yeah.
I had it there, and I was like, I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to keep that in case like I ever go back to Kingpin or something. Then we've got something that we can work on. Maybe new stuff that they're bringing out is more in line with whatever that is. But when I started writing some new thrash stuff, I was just like, no, I need to use this, man. It's too good. I want to get it finished. So that's enough. When I start a song, I can't leave it. It's like I can write a couple of riffs and like leave the riffs there, and that's fine. Like just they can go on the vault or whatever. But if I've got a song that's like half done or like coming together, I can't leave it alone. I can't say, no, this is a lost cause. I'm just abandoning this. I have to really work on it. And that can be a pain sometimes, because I'll fucking spend months on like the one bit just to make it work. But I just don't want to waste anything. If I think something sounds good, I don't want to abandon it, you know?
Yeah. Well, from what we've kind of heard just from speaking to you is that you do spend a lot of time on the stuff that you have and making it work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not like, if something's not quite right, you as you say, you'll not abandon it. You'll work on it. You know, so how long are we talking to put Greenwash together? Is that like?
Oh, that was
quite an accumulation of time.
Because I mean, I had like a couple of songs that me and Dave went in and played for a few months. I think it was like 3 songs or something, and then we got the other 3 finished over the course of time as new people came in. So it probably took about a year or something.
And would you call yourself the main songwriter? You kind of writing the guitar parts?
I would say I was then, because I mean, it was like me and Dave, and then Aaron came in, and I was writing all it basically. But now that we've got a full band, like we've been writing these new tunes, like it's everyone basically.
Right, Chris is knocking out with some riffs and stuff.
Yes, I.
Because I remember him saying that he was like, "Oh, I'm getting my first proper writing credit on a Tempered song, my first fully written Tempered song." Chris
has written the majority of the riffs on this.
Right. Okay.
This new thing, this thing that we're going to talk about it or not?
We're more than Look, we're in lockdown. There's no secrets anymore. The thing we're talking about is a split EP between Disposable and Tempered, which we were actually I think it was like the day before the country got locked down, or the day after, sorry, the country got locked down. Liam was going to go into the recording studio to do his drums for our songs on the split. So that was like, we were really hoping to get that in before, because, we can kind of do guitars from home. So we would have been able to really press on with our stuff had we done that, but it was like 1 or 2 days out or something. Well, the option was to go, I can't remember, but it was unsafe to go or something. But the guy in the studio had symptoms, and we just shot ourselves, and it was like, okay, let's just.
Because that was we rearranged it, where originally a gig got cancelled, and we're like, oh, well, let's record the drums this weekend. And then on the day, he messages and he's like, oh, my wife's the nurse. I've got symptoms. It's up to you guys if you want to come here. We were like, nah, fuck that. They were like, right, we'll push it back another week or something. He's like, oh, I don't think I had it. I was just being overly cautious. Right, cool, we'll come in next weekend. And then like, right, you ready for the drums tomorrow? And it's like, the country is getting locked down tonight. Don't leave your homes. Fuck's sake, man.
Yeah.
Aye.
So, we were kind of right on the cusp of getting the ball rolling on this. And now it's kind of, I feel like I've got to entirely relearn that our 3 songs that we're putting towards it. I've not looked at them since then, because it was just like getting shot in the head at that point, because when you're just about to do the recording and it's all fresh in your mind and you're practicing it all the time. That's totally where we were at. And then since then, it's kind of like, oh, fuck. We'll worry about that after lockdown. But because we knew lockdown was going to be like at least 2 months at the time, it was kind of like, we'll fucking worry about that later. But now it's been so long that it's kind of like, shit, I probably should have just kept practicing that throughout. And I would never be at the point now where I feel like I'm relearning it. So are you kind of prepared for your half of the split? Is that all written? At the time, we had finished our stuff, but you were still working on your stuff.
I'm kind of glad. I mean, it's a bit shit for you that you didn't get a record, but I'm kind of glad you didn't, because we were a bit behind, man. Because as I said, Andy left, and we had to get a new bass player. We got Ewan in, and Ewan was working on some vocals and that, but like Ewan's left now. Like we've not really announced anything. I mean, like Sam's been our bass player since almost the start of the year, man. He's played gigs with us in England and everything, and we've still not had the opportunity to announce him. Like we were planning on getting like a band photo done and then announcing it that way, but then COVID happened and we couldn't get together. So it's we're kind of just going to announce everything, I guess, at the one time when we get this done. This done, and then Sam's. I mean, you know Sam.
It's really nice for us that Sam is the bass player, because it feels like he's one of our boys.
He actually sent me a bass track today, man, for one of the new songs, and it's quality. It's like it's such a different style, Andy. Because like he plays with his fingers. Andy was like all picking stuff. It sounds great, man. It's like such a different dimension to the band.
Yeah, we were dead excited when Sam joined, because it was kind of like, we heard in the grapevine that he was going to audition, and our reaction was, oh fuck, that'd be amazing, because he's really good pals with Ollie, and Ollie's kind of like the member of Disposable that's not he didn't grow up with the kind of underground metal scene like the way the other three of us done. So like, but Sam was always one of his best pals. So then to have him in, like I feel Oliver feels more involved with the metal scene in general, knowing that like his man Sam has been drawn in.
Totally. Sam's a really nice guy, man. Really,
he's a great lad, man. I mind as well. I was when I heard you guys were looking for a new bassist and going up to, I think there was a gig on at Bannerman's or something, and I went pure bailing over at Sam, like Sam, fucking Tempered are looking for a bassist, get in their audition. He's like, oh yeah, I've already spoken to the boys, man. And I was like, fucking yes, man.
Just out of interest, did he show any kind of excitement to join at all? Or was he just like, yeah, so, you know, it'd be nice if I was a bit.
That's pretty much how it was. Like, so do you want to be in the band? Like, yeah, man, yeah, I'll do it. Cool. That's that sort of thing. And like Sam plays a lot of guitar and stuff as well. And he's like into his recording and stuff like me. So he's a few times now he's like sent over like sort of like guitar and bass and drums and stuff, like full on ideas for stuff. Mm-hmm. And it sounds really good, man, and I hope he keeps sending them, and then when we write new stuff, you know, he can get involved in the songwriting process as well.
Well, yeah, he's quite you're kind of lucky with the bass players you've had, to be honest, in the sense that they know guitar as well.
Aye.
So like they can write bass better because of that, and they can also write parts of songs because of that. You know, so you're not kind of there's no bass by numbers in Tempered at all, you know.
I think that's the thing. Like Sam's always been mega creative as well, but I think he's kind of had some bad luck with like he's always wanted to be in metal bands, and he does a lot of.
What was he gone? Don't worry, this happens every now and again with Jack.
Brilliant, man, brilliant.
He'll be back in a few seconds, I'm sure. He can still hear us. Whenever this happens, he can always still hear us as well. And he'll come back and he'll say, oh, did he fucking leave? Or did he fucking leave?
What's up? I heard you, yeah. No, so I think he does all this like funk stuff, he does loads of wee solo bits and that, and but I think all the metal bands he's been in tend to kind of just not really go anywhere, or people lose interest and fall apart, and he's always been dead keen to be like, and I think as well he's been coming to a lot of like the CST gigs over the past year, so he's been, you know, I think he's one of those people that a lot of people, I'm like, oh, you ken Sam Hart, eh? And they're like, I don't really know who that is. Then you point him out and it's like, oh, he's the guy that's always up the front going fucking nuts. Yeah, I've never spoken to him, but yeah. So it's good to see that he's like, and I mean, obviously me and Billy, we're big fans of you guys as well. So it's lovely, like that collaboration. It's like, no way.
Definitely.
My favourite thing about it is that there's a wee bit of Edinburgh now in there. I know he's English, but you know, he's an Edinburgh boy. And every time you're kind of Tempered Glasgow, I'm like, nah, like Ken. I don't know man new, like say Ken.
Well, we had you in there for a while, man. He's like almost Edinburgh, isn't he?
He's proper Fifer, like, eh?
He's a Fifer, aye. Like,
well, so obviously, let's speak about Aaron's departure and getting Ewan in.
Aye. The original plan was that Aaron was going to do the vocals on the split, and we were going to find somebody to fill in for the gigs that we had booked, and then get somebody new in and work on new material. But Ewan was straight in there, interested, like, I want to join the band, not just fill in and stuff. So we went with it. It was good. He's a great singer. And just like lately, he's decided that he can't commit really, because he's not just like the distance and stuff, but he's like getting married and stuff, and he's like having to work a lot and put money by, and I think he's in Scum Pulse now as well, playing guitar, and that's a lot closer to home.
Yeah, it's right on his doorstep.
Aye, so I mean, fair enough. I said to him, you know, I would have been a bit annoyed if we had like just recorded with him and then he left.
Yeah.
But because he's not recorded and we were originally just looking for someone to fill in anyway, I was like, you know, fair enough.
It's one of those situations where unfortunately all the reasons he's given make sense and are quite valid.
Aye.
You know, so.
A good lad, man. I like him.
Oh, he's awesome, right? Ewan's the best guy out. And I always remember that first gig he played, the secret set, which, by the way, still one of the best sets I've ever seen. The secret tempered set that was just not a secret for like 4 hours leading up to it. I thought you were joking. It's like, oh, we're playing a secret set. It's like, fuck off.
It's a bit hard when you walk in with all your gear, you know what I mean?
I still didn't believe you, though. Chris is sitting there warming up, and I'm like, yeah. I was like, no way, man. No way. He's lending his guitar to someone or something.
It was like, I think, like, that was Belterfest 2, wasn't it? I think a band pulled out, like, really, really last minute, and it's like, well, we're all going to be there anyway. I mean, because it's my gig, like, I don't want to put my band on it every single year, so I, like, deliberately didn't put Tempered on the second one. And then it just got to that point where, we're going to have to pull a band out of arse. We're all going anyway. We might as well just go and fucking play.
I like the way that it began as you not wanting to put your own band on, and then it ended up as like the big surprise of the event was like, it's Tempered. But it was brilliant, honestly. It was like, it totally popped off that night. That was like such
everyone
a good,
knew, man.
gig.
Everyone knew. I think the reason why it was supposed to, like, had the aura of a surprise around it is because we didn't want anyone to know, because I think we had just supported Gruesome, or we were just about to support Gruesome.
I remember that.
We had that window of, like, you know, you can't play any gigs in the city like a month before and a month after. So, like, I didn't want to advertise it in case fucking Johnny Almond sent me a message, like, cracking up at me or something.
What do you make of that rule? Is that a rule that you agree with?
I don't know. It's a hard one. I mean, obviously, we sold all our tickets for Gruesome. And I know it's like to help ticket sales and stuff, because, like, I don't think bands in general should be playing the same city like once or twice a month, because it's just that it doesn't become as special anymore. You kind of want to, like, spread yourself out a bit, and, you know, but I don't see the harm in it, but at the same time, if it's, you know, if these promoters are paying all this money to bring bigger bands over, then they want to try and make as much money as they can so that they're not out of pocket. Because most of the time they probably are out of pocket bringing bands over. So I
understand it.
I can't argue.
Well, you're probably right in the sense that you probably shouldn't have gigs booked within a few weeks anyway. You know, so that rule is kind of only there for people that kind of have the brass neck to do that anyway. You know, it's just to make sure it's.
And a lot of
I used to think of it as like a really arsey move from the promoter. Like, you know, don't fucking tell us what to do. But, you know, you mature a bit and you realise, you know, it's not really an arsey request. If anything, it's just like, if you had any self-respect, you probably wouldn't be playing a gig, you know, in the same city a week before anyway. You know, so if you are, then, you know, you're probably not doing it right.
I mean, I think it's only really a rule because of how many bands actually do it. Like when I worked in Ivory Blacks, man, like, you'd see the same metal bands, like, at least once a week sometimes, and, like, sometimes even twice a week, and you're like, what the fuck? What's actually going on? Like, why are you doing this? Like, you're playing to nobody. Can you not see that this is the wrong decision here?
But then at the same time, it's not every band's goal to climb up any kind of ladder. You know, just gig experience is good a lot of the time. You know, so, but go back to the split. Chris has mainly kind of wrote a lot of it. Is that something that came together naturally, or was he just pumping out material fast as fuck?
Pretty much. He wanted to get started as soon as. He was quite hyped to, you know, put his stamp on it and stuff. He started on the longest tune that we're going to have on this split. He basically wrote all of it and sent it to us, and then we started tweaking it and stuff, and added in bits and changed bits. The intro that we've got on it, he wrote that himself. and sent that over, and I think it's pretty much like untouched. We just heard it and we're just like, that's perfect, keep it like that, that's fine.
I think we've had a sneaky at that actually.
Aye. And the last tune that's going to be on the split, I think we all wrote it together in the studio. I can't actually remember now who came up with it. I think I came up with a few riffs and Chris came up with a few riffs. I think that's probably the most collaborative one that's actually going to be on the split for us. So, it's like 10 minutes of material. Like you said that you are doing 10 minutes of material.
I think that's pretty much where we're at, aye. Just
so,
over.
Aye. So that's enough for a split.
It'll be good, like I'm super looking forward to it. And you know, there was some riffs getting leaked the other day back and forth, and everyone was kind of like quite pumped to hear each other's stuff. I think it'll work quite well.
Aye.
Because we're quite different as bands as well, I think, while both being Scottish thrash bands, you know, I feel like there's, in many ways, there's big divide in style there. Definitely.
But you have been in it longer than us, though. I mean, you have like, what, 11 years or something now?
Thereabouts, just over 10 and a half.
Like fucking the stuff that you let me hear, man, it's like, sounds wild, man. Sounds wild.
Aye, we're kind of at this point now where we just write fucking anything, and it's at the moment it seems to be going down a very wild kind of.
That's good. You like wild?
Aye. Well, it's kind of suits being on a split with you guys because it's kind of a bit more in the kind of vein of what you do, I guess, as opposed to perhaps stuff that we've done before.
I don't know, man. It gave me the fear. I was like, I don't think this is wild enough. we need to step up a bit now because Disposable's sounding fucking wild as fuck, man.
But the moment you let us hear your riffs, I'm in a separate chat with Jack going, here, we need to do something about this, man, because that sounded fucking ridiculous. So it's good that it's kind of invoking that kind of reaction from each other.
I mean, it would have been shit if I like heard your stuff and I was like, oh man, that's pish. This is going to be pish. I can't believe it.
Aye, well, it's not finished yet, so let's not speak too soon. I think we're quite pleased with our stuff. It's quite, I don't know, it's the same but different. I don't know.
I think what's weird
Jack's got a cool song in it. Jack's got a very.
I think what's weird about our stuff on this split is that like there's kind of a song that's mostly me. It's like the whole second half is all mine, and then the whole first half you made out of riffs that me and you came up together.
Yeah.
But then the whole second song is all Ollie. It's just a total Ollie song. And then the third song is all you. You know, we don't normally do that where we've each got our own little.
Aye, it's weird, isn't it?
But
that's quite cool.
So we refer to them as the Jack's song, Ollie's song, Billy's song, and Liam just.
That's a cool concept, though. It's a cool concept for like just doing like a wee split in it.
Well, that's what we kind of thought. It was kind of like, if we'll write it quicker if everyone just goes away and writes a song, and then when we come back, we've got three. But they work quite well together. We've kind of blended some aspects of them into one another conceptually, which is really fucking wanky, but you probably won't even notice it. Alright, cool. So stylistically, is Chris writing sort of stuff that you think is dead similar to Greenwashed? Is it got a noticeable Chris twist?
Well, that's the thing, because like I pretty much wrote all the Greenwashed. It's like it's my style of playing. Like all the riffs are just like things that come naturally to me when I play, like fingers and stuff. And when Chris sends me stuff now, it's like some of it's like out of my comfort zone. It's stuff that I wouldn't naturally just play on the guitar. So I've had it's good because I've learnt some new things from it. And I mean, I'd like to think that he learnt a few things from me, like learning the Greenwash stuff. But he's a much better player than me. I don't think he learnt anything from me at all.
He's a great player. Like that. I feel like if I was in a band with Chris, he could write anything, and he's gonna be able to learn it.
Aye.
They've got full confidence that he's going to be able to learn it. I mean, like Oliver's that guy to us. He's kind of like the guy like where he'll write something that's totally not anything that me and Jack's fingers would ever do naturally on a guitar. I feel like if I write something, Jack can learn it. You can learn it quite quick. It's kind of
we
like,
play quite similarly, like
yeah.
Whereas like Oliver's got a lot of weird picking stuff on the go. Like when you were saying there about Chris just plays in a way that you don't play a guitar like that, so you've got to learn new things. So much alternate picking stuff that Ollie does. And I'm good at the downstrokes, but as soon as I've got to skip strings in that, so usually when Oliver sends a new demo, I'm just like, oh, fuck's sake.
Before you've even heard Oliver's stuff, you just see the tab, you're going, oh no, those numbers should not be next to each other. That's not doable. But, so it's quite exciting. It should be good. And I was pure pumped to get the ball rolling, but now it's still kind of up in the air. But hopefully it'll, at some point it'll come together. I guess we kind of agreed that as soon as we could get back into the practice room, we would jump right back into where we were. So hopefully it's not going to be too long. I mean, you guys are already back in the practice room.
Aye. We're just getting it back together, man, shaking the rust off. I think we should be ready to record. Well, instrumentally, we should be ready to record in probably, I'd say a month or two to be comfortable.
Nice.
But, I mean, it's just waiting to see if Aaron will be done by then. I mean, I'm sure he will. He's just finished all the recording with his band. Finished his uni stuff and that, so he's got the time now. So he seems to be getting tore into it.
It's good. It's good to have him back after kind of presuming. Obviously, he was going to do it originally, like you said. Then you got you in who he was going to do it. So now you've come full circle, and it's Aaron again. And there's a comfort to that where I'm like, it won't be Aaron after all.
Aaron was taking his sweet time, man, because obviously he had always other stuff on the go, and Ewan had been in the band for a while by then, and we thought, it's unfair on Ewan, man. Let's just, say to Aaron, just go and do your thing. It's cool. Ewan's going to do it. But now we're back in this situation. But it's good, man. He sent me a vocal demo yesterday, the day before, and it was really good to hear his voice on it again.
Aye. So had Ewan written any lyrics and vocal stuff for the split that you've kind of had to put aside? Or?
Aye, because we had been practicing the stuff a lot before the lockdown and that happened, and he had some ideas. I think he kept changing it. From week to week, he was doing different things. He actually admitted that he was finding it hard, but I think he was maybe just doubting himself a little. Because the stuff that he was doing in the studio sounded fine. But I don't know, man.
It would have been interesting to hear what he would have done. It would have been interesting to see lyrically where he would have taken it, because I think, as we said before, obviously Aaron's lyrical style has made quite a big impression on people, and it's quite a big part of the Greenwashed EP. Mm-hmm. So it would have been interesting to see where another vocalist would have taken that, obviously.
I don't think Ewan actually let us see anything that he had written. But again, I think that was him doubting himself. But he had told us a little what it was about, and I think it was quite political what he was doing, which is a bit different again, because all the Aaron stuff on Greenwashed is about it's kind of about worries and fears and mental problems and stuff like that. So it would have been different. Aaron sent his lyrics that he's got for this new stuff, and I'm not actually sure if it's along the same sort of lines, but it's undoubtedly his style, man. Just he uses all the big words and stuff, and he's some lyricist, man.
There's an art to his kind of lyrics. It's quite metaphorical, and there's deeper meaning to most of the lines on top of what you're hearing. It's definitely I'm not a huge lyric guy, which is odd because I'm the main lyric writer for Disposable. But in terms of the music that I listen to, it's not make or break to me what the lyrics are about, so long as it's not about something really novelty rubbish. I generally don't mind, but I was reading along with all the Tempered lyrics and really connecting with them. So they were really well written. So it's I don't think anyone's going to be upset that Aaron's coming back. As much as I would have loved to see my boy Ewan do what he was going to do on it. But you know, there's something nice about knowing that Aaron's going to come back. We'll get a bit more of that. Unfortunately, obviously, like he said, just coming back to record, you know, he's not going to be in the band. So it'd be interesting for a vocalist to come along and debut some songs.
Well,
recorded by another vocalist.
Aaron will be over here for Chris's wedding. Like, I think it's the next summer.
So I'm not sure. I haven't got my invitation yet.
Don't worry, I've not got one either yet.
All right, okay.
Aye, so Aaron.
I know Chris will invite me.
Aye, of course he will. We'll definitely sort something out, I think, when Aaron's over, man, because we'll have to get him on the stage one last time.
Yeah. It might be your first gig back.
Aye.
That's the thing.
Probably.
I feel like you never fucking left. It'll be interesting to see how it all comes about. But it's nice to know that we'll be hooking up and we'll try and get some kind of tour. You know, like if things are kind of normal, we can pull our resources and, you know, because we're all gonna be gig sick. You know, I reckon everyone's gonna kind of want to get out there, do more gigs than they maybe normally would have done.
I'm really
something to that effect.
Really excited for this split. I think it's going to be great, and we should definitely promote it as much as we can, like playing down south and stuff.
It'll be good. It'll be good to be on the road because we've not actually gigged together massively, really.
No, we haven't.
Like obviously we've been on bills with each other, but I feel like I've seen you guys a lot, and a lot of the times we weren't on that bill. You know, so it's not like you don't jump out as like one of the main sort of bands that we've played with, really. You know, but obviously we've shared the stage and stuff, but there's a lot of good times to be had with some tours and stuff like that. But as I say, you just have no fucking idea how it's all going to work. So
I know, it's all up in the air, the new man. Sucks.
Indeed, but you know, it's something to look forward to, and it'll be good. It'll be good.
So since, as I said, I haven't been playing a lot of guitar over lockdown. Neither have you. Have you, Jack? I can't remember if you said or not.
A wee bit, but recently, so I've got a couple of months where I've not been playing, and I'm basically having to go back to like relearning shit stage now. So like, kind of unlearn how to play the guitar.
What have you actually been doing with your time over lockdown then?
Working.
Apart from working, like, what have you been doing with the time that you would have normally been spending playing the guitar and the bass and stuff?
Binge watching TV. I binge watched all of Star Wars, including Clone Wars and Rebels, and that was fucking class. Everything in chronological order. And so that took up like a week or something.
A fucking week.
No, man, I was at it, man.
I've watched the first half of The Phantom Menace in 3 months.
I can't believe you need to get on it, man. He's never seen Star Wars.
Never seen Star Wars. I've never seen Star Wars. Honestly, I've never seen. And I was at the start of lockdown. I was like, "Here's my moment."
Why were you starting with The Phantom Menace?
Jack told me to.
So you're gonna go 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3? Fuck that.
No, well, the very first time that you see Star Wars, you have to experience it as everyone else experienced it, and then you can go back and watch it.
See, I experienced it chronologically. So that's why I was like, go 1, 2, 3, get them out the way. Then you get on to the good stuff, and then you patch 7, 8, and 9.
I'll tell you what the problem is. I was intimidated going into watching. Look, I'm not a huge sci-fi guy, but I would probably quite like Star Wars because apparently it's really good. But I know so many people that love Star Wars so much. I was generally quite intimidated going in case I thought it was shite, because I went into Game of Thrones with everyone telling me it was amazing and I thought it was shite. and I got like 1 season in and I was like, I cannot believe there's like so much more of this to watch. I can't do this. So I just bowed out. Anyway, I was quite intimidated by it. And then you add on to the fact that I'm like, Jack, what one do I watch first? And there's not just one answer. He said, well, you could do this, this, or this. And I'm like, stop giving me options, man. What's the first fucking Star Wars film? What's the first one that I can watch? Is it episode 1? And he's like, well, because, you know, episode 1, 2, 3, 8. But it's technically not the first one. And I'm just like, before I've even started watching anything, I'm just like worried that it's not even the right one. And then I get 10 minutes into The Phantom Menace and I'm like, I have no fucking idea what they're talking about. It's just absolute gibberish. I'm like, I feel like I should be watching the very, very, very first one to ever exist, chronologically in real time.
Aye.
To be fair, I did suggest both. I was like, you should watch it chronological. And then which one is the first one in chronological time? And I was like, well, The Phantom Menace.
Because it just sounded like pure gibberish to me.
You got really annoyed when I was like, watch 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6 in that fucking Raj order that people do, where it's like
something about watching number 4 first was just like giving me anxiety, and I was like, well, I can't watch 4 first. Why is it called 4? Why is it not called 1?
Originally, it wasn't called 4. They added
it's called Star Wars.
Right. Okay, so that's a hindsight thing when they realised they were doing it all out of order.
Aye. It's because they decided to make the prequels after they'd done the original trilogy.
Yeah. But Jack was giving me all this pish about, and then you watch Rogue One in amongst all this. And I'm like, oh, please, just tell me. And honestly, I was so scared because I was like, I really hope I kind of understand what the big deal is about it, like this big serious thing that's really important to people. And honestly, 10 minutes into The Phantom Menace, Jar Jar Binks does that thing, where you're lying on your back and you kind of do the worm and flip yourself up onto your feet. He does that in a pair of baggy camo jeans. And I'm like, I cannot fucking believe that I thought this was a big serious thing that was really scary to watch when this CGI guy is doing that in a pair of CGI camo jeans. I was so happy, honestly, when that happened. I was like, I can just watch this now without worrying about how serious or how good or bad it is, because they've dished me up that in the first 10 minutes. I can just sit back and chill now. I don't have to worry about fucking anything anymore. Fucking brilliant. And everyone apparently hates Jar Jar Binks.
I would never subject anyone to watch The Phantom Menace as their first Star Wars experience. No way.
To be fair, you've seen Rogue One though, eh? That's like the only one you've seen.
Oh, you have? No. You've seen Rogue One, Billy?
I had seen Rogue One, yeah.
But Rogue One's only good when you know
I had no fucking idea what was going on.
Oh.
Well, that's it. Even though it's like in an order from like 1 to 9, you still have to see the original Star Wars trilogy to know what's going on in the prequel trilogy. Yeah.
I think when I dip my toe back in, I'm going to go back to what's the first one that ever came out ever?
Star Wars 4, 5, 6.
What's 4? A New Hope.
Mm.
To be honest, I reckon you'll enjoy that better anyway.
Well, I like kind of classic. What year did that come out? Is that a 70s film?
77.
77. See, I quite like sort of 70s kind of that era of cinema. I'm into that. So I generally feel like I will enjoy the old ones more.
Aye.
I said that to you, and then you were like, "Yeah, but it's number 4. What the fuck?" Nah.
I know. I wanted to watch 1 first to just settle my pants. And I got halfway through it, and I was like, I have no fucking idea what was going on. It's quite good though. I quite like the pod race. That was cool. I was into that.
The pod race is cool. One thing that is cool about the Phantom Menace is the lightsaber fight at the end. It's probably one, if not
the Duel of the Fates one.
The what? Oh, the Duel of
the Fates.
Yeah.
It's fucking class.
It's
I don't get all the hate for the prequels. Like,
you what?
I don't get all the hate for the prequels. Like, they're not as good as the old ones, but they're good. They're good movies, Phantom Menace has got its moments. Attack of the Clones is class.
No, Attack of the Clones is shit. Come on.
Attack of the Clones is my favourite out of all of them.
What?
Aye.
No, man. Oh, fucking no.
Jango Fett, man. Fucking, oh.
What's your favourite, Beck?
My favourite?
Aye.
It's probably between the first Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. Like, the first Star Wars was originally just supposed to be a standalone movie. Like, he had picked out of all this whole story, he had like 9 chapters. Like, this would be the best part that works as a standalone movie. And then obviously it was like majorly successful and he had to make the next ones. So anybody that hasn't seen Star Wars, they should start with the first Star Wars movie.
Right, I'm taking that on board, and that's A New Hope.
Yes.
Aye.
Right, okay. Very good.
Like Empire's class as well, to be honest.
Aye, no, Empire is... a lot of people say Empire's the best one, but it is great, but I think Star Wars, the original's up there as well. It's just a timeless classic story, man. Like, it stands on its own. Even if you were to just watch that film and then say, I'm not kind of into it. It's like you're not really missing anything because, you know, it stands on its own.
Interesting. You've sold it to me. I've done it. I've been doing this wrong. I will go back and I'll watch A New Hope.
You should, man.
Star Wars is super successful. So I have been, as I say, it's not like I've been spending a lot of my lockdown watching the first half of Phantom Menace. I spent about an hour doing it.
I really want to watch the Clone Wars and Rebels and stuff, but there's just so much yet.
It's worth it, man. It put me off for years, but see, have you watched any of it?
No.
The first season of Clone Wars, it feels like it's an effort because it's like, oh, this is a kid's cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
But see, when you get about halfway through season 2, it gets fucking dark. I would dead like say that the last few seasons of Clone Wars are better than the whole sequel trilogy. Like, they're so good. It gets all the way up to Order 66, but from a different perspective in that. And it's, I literally cried, man. At that point, I was like fucking greeting in that, man.
Man, he fucking Revenge of the Sith, man. See the end of Revenge of the Sith, it chokes me up so much, man. I don't know what it is about it. It just chokes me up, man, and I feel like an absolute fucking. It just chokes me up.
Right. To be fair, Revenge is alright, but it's like that last 20 minutes, 25 minutes is just perfect.
Aye, it's unreal, man. It gets so much shit, man, but it's like I can't even explain it, man. It fucking no, I can't explain it. I'm not gonna sorry, I'm not gonna.
I've seen you've been collecting a lot of the classic Star Wars figurines and that.
I have, aye.
Yeah, handy.
For what? Have I got what?
Have you got them at hand?
We did something about a handy.
Said, have you got them handy?
Aye, they're up there on the wall. Don't know if I can
Oh.
There they are.
Christ, no, that's a lot.
Oh, yeah, fuck. That's like a proper wee display case in that. That's amazing.
Man. I've got the first 79 figures are the Star Wars line, the Empire Strikes Back line, and the Return of the Jedi line. I'm missing 4 figures to complete the first 79.
Jesus.
And then they brought out the Power of the Force line in 1985, but Star Wars had kind of dropped in popularity by then, so a lot of people didn't buy them, so they're quite rare. So those last 17 figures will cost me between 40 quid and 250 quid each.
Oh man! What's the most expensive one?
Yak Face, which is just a background character in Jabba's palace. He's going to cost you £250, and that's just for loose, man. That's not even in the original packet or anything. That's just loose.
See, I love the collectible side of franchises like this, though, where you dig into some old fucking toys and shit. They don't make enough shit like that anymore. Really classic figurines and shit. That's good. And how are you buying them on eBay?
No, man, I'm in Star Wars collectors Facebook groups and shit.
See, yeah.
Aye, it's good, man. Been enjoying myself. I've only been collecting them for a month, and I'm just addicted. I've got nearly all of them now. I'll be onto the fucking spaceships and that next. And
the point now where you're
stuff.
It's getting to the point now where you're having to start parting with big bucks to get the rare ones.
I know, because most of these have cost me the majority of them have cost me £3 each, just buying them loose.
Yeah. But
some I've spent up to about 15 quid each. But the last 17 are it's where the big money is.
But even 15 quid doesn't sound bad where you're saying, 200 quid for one figurine.
I know. And it's going to cost me about 50 quid each for most of the ships and stuff as well, and the play sets and that. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to go that far. I definitely want to get some of the ships. I want to get some of the stuff that I didn't have when I was younger. Like Boba Fett's Slave 1 and I need to get that. I actually had an AT-ST. I never had an AT. No, sorry, an AT-AT. The big one in Empire. I never had one of those when I was younger, but I got one a few years ago. I actually found it in a forest. I was walking through the forest, right? No joke, man. I was walking through a forest in Iowa, and I seen.
The fuck were you doing?
Just going for a walk, man.
All right, okay.
And I saw this. It was like an AT-AT leg sticking out the ground. I was like, that's a fucking AT-AT leg, man. No way. And I was like, I grabbed it and like I looked around and I found another leg. And I was like, what? And then I looked around more and I found the body. And I was like, fucking hell. And I looked around and I found all the bits, man. It was just lying scattered in the forest. I took it home and I cleaned it up and shit. And I had it for a good while. But then my best mate had his first son. And like we were like really into like Star Wars figures and stuff when we were younger. And I thought, you know, we never had a fucking an AT-AT when we were younger, so I'm going to like give this to his son, and I gave it to him, and like he put it away for his son. Now I fucking regret that because I want it back.
Sorry, you started collecting seriously.
I'll get another one.
Let's go for another fucking walk in the woods in Allo and see what you can.
That was a fucking weird day, by the way, because like there was like loads of stuff in this wood. It's like somebody had like just like emptied someone's life into the woods. It was like suitcases with like all these documents and stuff and like letters. And I can't remember the guy's name, but we were like reading some of it, and I think basically this guy had died and they just dumped all his stuff in the woods. It's mental.
Fuck.
I
Aye.
think the dead body is the only bit missing, really.
Aye.
You've got all this official documentation and stuff, and then pieces of an AT. It's like, what?
It's like that was like the only Star Wars thing that was there as well. It's like once I found it all, I was like, I wonder if there's any more Star Wars stuff. And like I looked around this woods and couldn't find it. It was just like clothes and stuff. Weird.
Truly bizarre. The things that happen when you go for a walk in the woods, you know.
No, we were going to try and like contact like someone if they like in case like someone wanted all this stuff, because like we don't know if the guy was alive or if he was dead. If he was alive, maybe we would have wanted some of this stuff back, or if like he was dead, like his relatives would have wanted it or whatever. But they couldn't get in contact with anyone.
Makes you wonder why it's there in the first place.
I know, it's like why
someone looted this house.
Why would you just dump it in the woods?
Aye.
Like take it to a dump, you know what I mean?
Aye. Aye. I don't know, that's weird. That's very, very truly bizarre that quite a big Star Wars fan and collector happened to stumble across it as well. Because I would probably walk past that and be like, what is that?
I know, it was really strange.
I just left it.
My eye just caught it and I was like straight away, that's an AT-AT leg. You know, like the big fucking the big foot and shit. Like it's a fucking AT-AT. No way, man.
Very weird. Very, very weird. Well, we're about an hour and 20 minutes in. You know,
fucking hell.
I will. So unless you want to, if there's anything specific that you want to cover, we'll just kind of do a little roundup and.
I don't know, man. Like I think that's us pretty much at the end then, because like we didn't plan this or anything. It's just a natural chat, in it.
That's it. And I was not expecting that last little story. It feels like a nice, wholesome way to round out. We like rounding it out with something dead random like that, I guess. What you should do before we hang up is just give a general shout out to where people can find Tempered stuff. The boring linky bit. I'll put all the links in the description anyway.
Aye. You can find Tempered in the description. We're on Facebook and we're on Bandcamp, and we've got what do you call that thing? What's that thing that we sell our shirts on again?
Big Cartel.
We've got one of them, and Billy will put it all below. Just go and
I will.
just go.
If you want to search for it yourself, Tempered is spelled TEMPERED.
That's the one.
Don't tell me that.
It like that in our intro. That's why he's saying it like that.
No, let's face it. Everybody listening to this understands that joke.
Yeah, I mean, how many views did you get like on your old like podcast videos?
That's an interesting question. If you talk about yourself for 30 seconds, I'll go on YouTube and find it.
Because like I think most people that are like watching this probably are already aware of like who we all are, like in our band and stuff.
Yeah, it's a pretty niche little
Like,
market.
Do you get like those kind of like statistics and stuff for like what countries are listening and stuff?
Probably,
like that?
but you're asking a question to the wrong man regarding our YouTube statistics, to be quite honest. Let's the first ever episode on YouTube was uploaded apparently it was only 1 year ago. And it's got 256 views.
That's pretty good.
I mean, it's not amazing. It's also not shite. So, you know, we can probably factor in you and then another 255 people. So, I mean, it's not like it. But here, this series could skyrocket. We don't know yet. This is all in the game. By the time this episode comes out, we could be fucking...
It's probably not going to skyrocket with this episode, though, because I'm a born bastard. But I appreciate being on because, as I said, I'm a big fan and I like being a born bastard, sitting alone listening to people talking. So
the thing is, most people, as you say, who will already know who you are or who the band is at least, probably know what to expect from this episode, Beck, to be honest, mate. So, you know, I think you've done your thing quite well. You've quite monotonous, but you know. That's not a tempered joke, by the way. That just happens to be there.
Well, fucking.
Sorry, you can always strive for better.
Shout out to the CST, man. All the boys and girls in the CST, man. The hottest shit in the UK at the moment, man.
Aye, and seriously, Greenwashed is a fucking immense EP. We've told you this many times before, but one of the best debuts to come out of Scotland in living memory, in my opinion.
I'm very chuffed with it, man. I really am. It's going to be hard to live up to now.
It's all good. Everyone waits with bated breath to hear new Tempered stuff.
Well, it'll be soon, and you can get the fucking Tempered and Disposable split, which is going to be amazing.
It's going to be pretty fucking amazing. Anyway, we'll say bye for now, and I'll click this. Do you want to give a wee monotonous wave? I'm going to stop this recording now.
All right, bye-bye.